Hello, welcome to my channel, Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and I am here to show you a book haul. The first few books were gotten from a little free library in downtown Fredericksburg. I had not seen it there before, but it's very nice to encounter a little free library where they actually have some books that I wanted. And the first book that I took was Nova by Samuel R. Delany. Now, I do have the Kindle version. I do have the audiobook version. So why would I bother getting the paperback version? Look at that cover. You got a guy in space with a metal arm. You got a woman who's basically just wearing a sheet over her breasts, and why not pick it up? Now, Nova also is a really good science fiction novel, and it's a literary science fiction novel. So it does not please some of the more hardcore science fiction fans because Samuel R. Delany does dip into the literary aspects of science fiction. But it's a good book, and it's a book by a gay black author, and maybe that would attract some people, but it's free, it's old, it's neat, I got it. And this one, Michael K. Vaughan, You Are to Blame. Clifford D. Semek, City. This is perhaps MKV's favorite science fiction novel. It is, well, it's not really a novel, it's a collection of short stories, but it's about the far distant future of robots and dogs, and I do have to read this someday. MKV, you're to blame. Third book I can blame on Criminale. This is Ed McBain's The Big Bad City. This is part of the 87th Precinct novels. And he's just praised these novels so much that I've been collecting them over the past month or so since I finished my 100 book challenge. And he's to blame for me picking up this one. Now, these things just came into my cart. I'm not sure why I picked this up. This is Harold Robbins, The Carpetbaggers. There was a review on the internet ranking Harold Robbins books, and they gave him the pros and the cons. And I don't remember the pros, but I remember the cons that said, don't let your children read this book. So if this is a book children should not be reading, it's a book I should be reading. Another thing that popped in, V.C. Andrews, The Flowers in the Attic. What in the hell? This is about children locked in an attic by a mad old woman? I don't know. I mean, look at these. They're really trashy books. Why am I getting this? It's like there's going to be a major BookTube event that's going to throw all other BookTube events under the trash heap of history. It's going to be so fabulous. Trash, trash, trash. Okay. I also picked up Clive Barker's The Inhuman Condition. I picked this up because I have the other 5 books of blood in paperback on my shelf, and for whatever reason I was missing this one, and so I had to buy it just so I have all 5 books of blood. Now, for whatever reason, in the United States, books 1 through 3 of the books of blood are just named books of blood 1 through 3, and 4 and 5 get these titles, The Inhuman Condition, and I can't remember what the other one is, but I do need to read all of Clive Barker's stories. I think I read most of these in the late 80s, early 90s when it first came out, but I needed it. And here is a horror novel that I had when I was in high school. I didn't read, but it's about the Vatican in the 5th century AD. Pope Gregory has ordered to be sealed forever. Yet the Vatican in 5th century AD, Pope Gregory has ordered to be sealed forever, the ninth Gregorian chant, a profane and holy invocation of the devil. And then it switches to San Francisco in 1977. Emily Blake has begun to hear strange, disembodied voices calling to her in her home. Her husband's lover has burned to death in a chair behind a locked door. The ancient charge of murder by witchcraft has been leveled at Emily. Emily, whose only hope may be a grotesque 11-year-old boy with a demonic sexual craving. A little boy who has already taken her once, evilly. A little boy who has brought her to the tune of a chant unheard for 1,500 years. Lupe. And that looks like Lupe in a coffin with a red flower. Early horror, gotta be great. Now this is something I bought off Thrift Books. And it's a novel translated from the Spanish. He's very innovative and linguistic literary author. Now, I bought this under the assumption that I was buying a like-new paperback. This is an ex-library copy. It's a little beat up. I don't think this is like new Thrift Books. And I know they're not entirely to blame. And I've been warned that sometimes a thrift book is a little less good than advertised when you buy it. But so I'll still read it. Good literary fiction translated from Spanish. Next one is a book that I purchased for a real-life book group here in my community. It is The Neon Rain by James Lee Burke. This is the first in the Robichaux trilogy. And I have never read anything by this author before, even though his series of this detective is exceedingly famous. And so next month, I will be diving in to this mystery. And another book that I'm going to blame on Noah, and everyone who reads it must converse, is Ride a Cockhorse by Raymond Kennedy. And he gave it, he hasn't read it, but he gave it a very strong positive vibe that this is a book that I would like. A revolution is underway and at once at a sleeping New England bank. 45-year-old Francis Fitzgibbons has gone from sweet-tempered loan officer to an insatiable force of nature almost overnight. Suddenly, she's brazenly seducing the high school drum major, taking over her boss's office, firing anyone who crosses her, inspiring populist fervor, and publicly announcing plans to crush the local rivals en route to dominating the entire banking industry in the Northeast. Sure, this is an NYRB classic. They're all great, and it was less than $5 on Thrift Books, so why not buy it? And lastly, this is a book to help me do something. This is English-Spanish stories. I have been trying to teach myself Spanish for a while. I'm really not conversant. If you speak Spanish to me, it's all going to go in one ear and out the other ear. But I can read a little Spanish. So in this book, you have Spanish on this side and English on this side. So when I open the page to the Spanish, I can almost read an entire paragraph. I do have to look over at the English translations, but this should hopefully get me over the hump of being really bad at Spanish. And maybe if I practice a lot, I will be able to read a whole short story in Spanish. And that would be really amazing, in my opinion, to be not a typical American and have some bilingual capacity. Because there's a joke. And if you're American and you're very sensitive about saying bad things about America, you can just stop right now. I'll end with the joke. What do you call someone who understands 3 or more languages? Polylingual. What do you call someone who understands 2 languages? Bilingual. What do you call someone who only knows 1 language? American. And I fell victim to this in my early youth. When I was growing up, there was just a trend, a way that languages should have one unifying, households should have one unifying language. And that's really a shame, because my father was born in Paris, France, and he immigrated in 1940. And he never taught me to speak French. He taught me 1 word of French. And if you want to know the word, it begins with the letter M. And anyone who knows French is going to know the word that he taught me. Well, anyway, thank you for watching my book haul. Have a good day. Goodbye.